It's often important to display non-graphical information relating to, say, chair or a desk in a design. Tags attached to such chairs or desks provide users with a quick method of obtaining specific product information that you would otherwise have to obtain from a specification or a catalog. Tags are easily attached to elements or cells, and you control how the tags are displayed and what information they contain. In addition, you can generate reports that list tag information. Now, tags are relatively unsophisticated, especially in the area of tag reporting. For more robust reporting applications, tags can be linked to relational databases, which I haven't included in this course, by the way. Now, so you can attach multiple tags to an element or a cell, and so that you can attach the same tags to other elements or cells, tags are placed in tag sets. The tag set is then attached to the element or cell, and on attachment, you're prompted to enter the individual tag information relating to that specific element or cell. Tag sets can be saved to tag libraries, which are similar to cell libraries, making them usable in other designs. Keep in mind that the text attributes for the tag display are set in the text settings box. And in fact, you should do that now. If you're working in regular English dimensions with feet and inches as your working units, then set 3 inches as your text height. If you're working in metric, try a 20mm text height. Now we'll work through a tag set creation exercise, and you should follow along with what I'm doing. And we'll attach tags from a pre-drawn MicroStation cell. So the first thing is to set the correct cell. So we'll go to Element and Cells. And we need the correct cell library. So we click on File, Attach File, and we're going to use the remodel cell. So click on that one. It pops into place. And here we see a collection of furniture. Let's use the chair 2 as our cell. So we'll make this a placement cell. That's all set, so we can dismiss that box. Now let's place a copy of that cell into the design. We're going to go to the Place Active Cell tool, and our chair 2 cell is in place. And we'll leave the scales at 1:1 with a 0 active angle. In comes the cell of the chair that we selected. I'm going to zoom that in just a little bit so we can see it better. I just need one copy at the moment, so I'll dismiss that tool. If you're working with a white screen background, then you will see a very muted looking chair. So you might need to change the color of the chair to make it a little more visible. Now let's move along and create a new tag set. Click on Element and Tags and Define. The tag sets dialog box pops into place, and we can start by defining a tag set and then the individual tags themselves. The tag sets are obviously on the left here, and we're going to add a new one. So the name of this tag set will be Executive Chair. So we'll shorten that to Exec Chair and say OK. The tag set pops into place. Now that's just the container for the tags themselves. Now I need to add specific tags on the right side of the box. So click on Add again. And now we have the Define Tag settings box in place. The tag needs a name. So I'll make the first tag name Manufacturer. So that's the tag name. And we need a prompt. And the prompt is a prompt to you when you actually place the tag for the correct information. This is really a question. And let's enter here, enter name. This case is more of a statement, really, but it's also a question. Type of tag. We can have a character tag, which allows you to place both letters and numbers. You can also place an integer or a real number. We'll stick with character. The variable tick means that we can enter any kind of information. We don't want a default entry for this particular tag, because presumably when we place the tag, we may well have different colors, different manufacturers, different types of chairs, etc., etc. So we don't need defaults, which means we don't need a default tag value either. And the last item is display the tag, which means we want to see the tag attached to the chair. Now, sometimes, for various reasons, you don't want to see the actual tag information. You simply turn this option off. So everything's in place, so we can say OK. And the tag itself has now popped into the tags box. Now I'm going to add another one. Tag name in this case is going to be color. And the prompt is enter color. It'll still be a character. Everything else is fine. We'll say OK. Let's add a third one. This one will be fabric. The prompt is enter fabric type. And we'll leave everything the same too. Click OK. Now we have 3 tags in place in the tag set. And we can now attach these tags to this chair. And as I mentioned, make sure your text attributes are correctly set. Now we're going to the tags toolbox, which is here. This is this toolbox. And the first tool on the list is attach tags. So we'll activate that. In the tool settings window, we see that the exact chair tag set is selected. And if we had more tag sets, we would see all the other available tag sets as well. Association should mostly be on because we want to maintain the connection between the actual cell and the tags. And there are probably very few times when you don't need association on. So let's place the actual tags themselves. Now, the prompt in the status line says identify element, or that will be the cell. So we identify the cell. And immediately on the screen pops the settings dialog box for the actual tags themselves. The value is blank at the moment because we haven't entered the information yet, but we'll do that right now. So move your cursor to the value box. When you do, you'll see the prompt that you entered for the manufacturer tag, which is enter manufacturer's name. So we need to click in the value box and enter a manufacturer's name. I'm going to enter Steelcase, and I'll tab that. Now we're down to color. Now, if I hadn't tabbed, we would see the prompt for enter the color value. I'm going to enter red. And this time, I'm just going to click in the box. Now, if I move my cursor into the fabric value box, I see enter fabric type. Click in the box and enter a fabric type. Let's make this leather. And we'll tab that. Now, after a while, of course, you don't need the prompt because you know exactly what information you need to enter. Now we're all set, so let's click on OK. And note now that we see the tags hanging off the cursor. And I can locate these anywhere I wish in relation to the chair. I'll simply drop them down here and plop them into place here. So left click to pop them in place. And we're done. The tool is still running and the prompt is still identify an element. So if you had other cells or elements in the view to which you wanted to attach the exact chair tag set, then you would simply click on that next. Now, of course, if you had many exact chairs to apply this tag set to with the same information, then you wouldn't use this method from this point onwards. You would simply copy this cell as many times as necessary, and the tag information would tag along, as it were, with the cell. Now, having created this tag set, you may well need to use the same tags in a different drawing. And one way to do this, of course, is to create a tag set library, and we'll do that now. So we go to File and Export, and we are going to create a tag library since one doesn't exist yet. But if one already existed and we wanted to add this tag set to it, we would then use the Append to Tag Library option, which would add our current tag set to the existing tag library. Back to Create Tab Library, click on that. And MicroStation gives us a path to save this to, but if you look at the path to the actual tag set, it's really quite long, and perhaps worst of all, it is inside MicroStation itself, which is not usually a good place to place anything which is custom, such as this tag library. It's far better to place custom items like this outside of the MicroStation software. It's quite likely that when you update MicroStation to a newer version, this path may well disappear, and or your library may disappear at the same time. So normally you'd place that outside of the software. I'm going to use this default path just for a little efficiency. File name. The file name has to have a TLB extension to be a tag library, and we'll give it a name. Let's call it Office, just for sake of a name. So we now are creating an Office tab library, and we'll save. Now that's saved to that default path. Now keep in mind that if I added a second or third or fourth tag set, I would select those and add them to the tag library using the append to tag library option. And of course, conversely, if I'm working in a drawing and I need to add my standard tags to particular elements or cells, I can import a tag set. So I'm importing a tag set from a tag library. And I could have many tag libraries if necessary. Clicking on that takes me to the default location. Here's my Office tab that I created previously. And I would typically have several different tab libraries, depending on the type of work I was doing. Now in the next video, we'll take a look at editing tags in place.